Hey, we've got a very special guest. I've never met him before, and that is shame on me, because Brian Werner is the president of one of the largest baseball organizations in the world, Prospect Wire. He's been around for a long time, been involved in baseball for a long time. Better him tell you about it than me. Brian, welcome aboard, and tell us a little bit about your background. You mentioned off air that you worked for the Yankees for a little bit and had some other opportunities out there. So tell us about that first.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Again, it's always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, just real briefly, I right out of college, I worked for the New York Yankees. Started in baseball operations as an intern, worked my way up to the director of operations, got involved in the pro scouting side of things. Was trained as a scout and everything, and eventually I always joke I moved on when they traded for Alex Rodriguez because they needed the money to pay for the limo to get him from the airport to Legends Field back then. But after I left the Yankees, got into coaching a little bit. Used to coach over at Seminole High School over in Pinellas County for a little while, and just as a whim, kind of reached out to an old family friend of mine who I saw was doing some stuff. Started Prospect Wire, a gentleman by the name of Matt Beaumeisel, and here I am 17 years later, somehow still doing this.
So one of the things I love is the focus on Prospect Wire. On you guys like to say the other 98%. Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, basically, Prospect Wire was founded, as you just said, for the other 98% of baseball athletes that are out there. There's 1 to 2% of those athletes that don't ever need any marketing or anything. Their skill levels, speaks for themselves. They're future first-round picks. Those kind of guys. They don't need any of us, any of the initial companies to help them find their way and everything. But there are about 98% of the other kids that are playing baseball that do need a platform, and we try to do our best to provide that for them in the right way. So,
and I mean, that's got to be the other 98% is a great slogan. But that other 98%, there's some hidden gems out there.
Oh God, yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen a few, over the last 13 years.
One of them may still be on his staff, Johnny Gomes, right?
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
Johnny is a guy who was not a big draft pick.
No, he was not.
Winds up with a lengthy major league career and a great story. So
Johnny is one of the most diverse onions that I think you could ever peel back layers on. He is an amazing guy. Much more analytical than you would ever give him credit for. I always, growing up, watching him play and everything, I always thought he was a grip it and rip it kind of hitter and everything, see ball, hit ball. But he's got some great approaches and is a very, very smart, sharp mind. So,
well, there was a time when baseball was starting to taper off a little bit from some of the pretty significant growth back in the 60s and 70s, and that's generic across the board. What are you seeing now? What's happening in the world of baseball in terms of growth and all of that type of stuff? It's I played baseball. Jack played baseball. I mean, we all played baseball here, and it is part of the American lifestyle, for heaven's sakes. But where are we now?
Baseball has changed, even in the time since you've played, since I've played, when it was Legion ball. You played with your high school, and there was no travel baseball to the early days of Marietta and everything, which is now Lake Point, and it's just so many different companies have come on board that provide travel tournaments now. There's groups that are doing it themselves internally. That there's obviously large groups like ourselves and some of the other initial groups, but I think the one thing that's changed the most about the way that travel baseball works is there's not a lot of loyalty anymore. Kids bounce, from 2, 3, 4 different teams over the course of a summer and a fall. It's very rare to see a kid play for the same travel program year after year. They just want different opportunities. Some travel programs stay local. Others, like to travel across the country to go play in events. So it's. Today's athlete is looking for a lot more exposure wherever they can get it and everything. So they kind of bounce around from company to company and team to team.
And you guys, we're focusing on Florida and whatnot, but some of the places where your showcases are: Boise, Sarasota, San Diego, Ogden, Utah, Irvine, California. So tell us logistically, it's got to be a real challenge to try to keep all that straight from week to week.
It is. We have a wonderful staff, an amazing staff. Our vice presidents, Frank Gates and Mike Esom, do a great job of somehow putting all of our staffing and our equipment needs together. Our national tournament director, Nick Susi, does an unbelievable job, a better job than I ever did when I was in the position of somehow managing all the events. And obviously, when I first started doing it, it was a lot of manual work and everything. And I'm kind of old school. And today we utilize a really good software called Playbook 365, which handles our registration process, and we can do our scheduling through that. So there's a little bit more automation to it, to where we can run more events and still be able to get schedules out in a pretty timely manner.
The sport of baseball, obviously, MLB Network, we see it on all the major networks, ESPN, ESPN2, and all of that junk. Live streaming in some sports is taking over. What's happening with live streaming in the sport of baseball?
So we had dabbled in it a few different times with a few different companies, and we found one now that works really well. It's a company called Athletes Go Live, and the great thing about them is they give you what amounts to it looks like like an iPhone almost, or an Android phone that straps up on the fence and everything. You set it up, and our scorekeepers have an app that they download and log in, and it syncs up with the live stream. And kind of the cool thing about the live streams these days is there's advertising opportunities that can be done through that. So when working with different CVBs and sports commissions, there's opportunities there to get more exposure for the local destinations that we work with and everything. And obviously it allows today, a lot of times today we have single parents and working parents that can't be at every single tournament, so it allows them to be able to log on. And Athletes Go Live is actually pretty cool. It has a feature when the game is over with, parents can go back in and actually clip highlights of just their player,
really?
Their son or their daughter,
wow,
and be able to have those as kind of a highlight video and everything afterwards. So.
Okay.
And thinking of highlights, I saw the spotlight today was a Wendell Washington of Auburndale. So just coincidentally, 2028 grad. Tell us a little bit about how that spotlight works, and
so you're going to put me on the spot. So that actually is a placeholder that was put down when we redesigned our website.
Well, sorry, Wendell.
We went
never
through
existed.
We went through a complete overhaul this past year and everything.
Damn, I was already working on that scouting
I know. I wish it was, but it is actually a feature that where it's active now, to where we can actually spotlight different players across the country and everything. Maybe it's one of our former All-Americans. Maybe it's someone that is a potential All-American for this year's event. So.
Yeah, that was just a great way. Just one more way to highlight those kids.
We do as best we can. We have a lot of various social media accounts and just profiles on our website. We do as much as we can to produce as much content as we can.
Do you find the kids are producing as much content out of the dugout as you guys are?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, when I scroll through our company's TikTok, I'm reminded that a lot of the things that kids like to do these days don't take place on the baseball field. It's the things that take place off of it that get them to like. So.
Well, I can relate to that, because I've always said, and all the athletes that I've known over the years, professional and so on, being on the competitive court or on the stage or whatever it may be is fun. That's great in all this, but the real memories aren't so much what takes place on the diamond or on the basketball court or whatever it may be, rectangles and diamonds, but it has to do with what goes on in the locker room, what goes on in the road, and that camaraderie you never forget.
Yeah. Can't talk about that here.
No, well, this is a family show. So, and yet we still have Jack here.
Yeah, somehow.
But the fact let me jump to another topic real quick here, because we just got like a minute. The analytics in baseball have always been there to some degree, and now with all the AI and all of the rest of this type of stuff, you guys have jumped on that in a big way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sort of one of those, if you're not on board, then you're kind of getting left, standing on the dock watching. So.
Right.
We partner with groups like Yacker Tech to be able to record data during the course of games, during the course of showcase workouts and everything, because the more information that a young athlete can provide to a college, evaluator and everything from all different angles, the better off it is. We always tell people analytics is not the end-all be-all answer, but it's another piece to that puzzle and everything. And anytime we have a chance to work with those machines and everything and provide that data, it's just one extra layer that we can give to the kids when they attend.
One final question before they get the hook out on me, and that is, how do people get, hey, I'm really interested in Prospect Wire. How can I do that?
You can go to our website, which is prospectwire.com, or directly to our registration site, which is play.prospectwire.com. That takes you directly to all of our Prospect Wire events, our Next Gen events, which is our 13U and 14U division, as well as our USA Premier, which is our new company out in California. And so just registrations are going on. We've already got a 200 plus teams sign up for the spring, 175 of them here in Polk County and everything. So we're excited. We're looking for another big year here in Central Florida. So.
Well, we're excited too, and I got to tell you, I know my entire staff is excited to work with you. They just can't say enough good things, and I appreciate it. Brian Werner, president of Prospect Wire Baseball, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to getting you back in here real soon.
Anytime. Thanks a lot, guys, for having me.